You reach up without thinking, tongue against teeth, searching for the sliver of food wedged between two molars. Fingers already moving toward a toothpick, a fingernail, whatever is closest. It takes 4 seconds. You don't remember the last 100 times you did it. This is not a modern habit. This is not something you picked up from a dentist's office or a box of mint-flavored toothpicks by a cash register. This is a reflex written into the human body long before there were cash registers, long before there was English, long before there was fire in every hearth. This was every day for over 1 million years. Fossilized jawbones recovered from sites across Africa and Europe carry a signature that anthropologists call interproximal grooves. Thin, polished channels worn directly into the sides of ancient teeth, the exact width and shape you would expect from a hard sliver of grass or bone dragged back and forth over and over between the same two teeth for years. Some of these grooves have been dated to more than 1.8 million years ago, long before Homo sapiens existed. Long before anyone alive today could recognize the species holding the stick. Think about what that means. A creature not yet fully human, without language as we know it, without mirrors, without anyone to judge the state of its smile, still took the time, daily, deliberately, to dig something small and sharp between its teeth and clean out what didn't belong there. Not for beauty, not for breath, for something that mattered enough to repeat for over 1 million years, across dozens of different hominin species on 3 different continents. So the question is not whether ancient humans picked their teeth. The grooves already answer that. The real question is why a behavior this small, this seemingly trivial, survived longer than fire-starting techniques, longer than entire tool industries, longer than most of the species that practiced it. What was it about a clean mouth that mattered so much to a creature that had almost nothing else? The first clue comes from STS-5, a fossilized skull known as Mrs. Ples, an Australopithecus africanus specimen unearthed at the Sterkfontein Caves in South Africa and dated to roughly 2.1 to 2.6 million years ago. Researchers examining the teeth under magnification found smooth, rounded grooves cut into the enamel near the gum line, not random scratches, but repeated directional wear. The same tooth, the same spot, worked again and again. Someone was reaching for that exact place on purpose. Anthropologists studying these grooves, including work published by researchers like Leslie Ahlusko, have proposed that the marks were made by a hard plant fiber or a thin twig dragged sideways between the teeth in a deliberate picking motion. Some grooves show a slight curve consistent with a rounded stick tip, not a flat blade. This was fine motor control, not an accident of chewing. A small act of precision from a creature we rarely imagine having any. Move forward roughly 2 million years to Neanderthal remains found at Cova Foradà in Spain, dated to around 150,000 years ago. Dental researchers there found not just grooves, but actual toothpick use wear patterns matching a repeated insertion angle, the same few degrees, thousands of times, on the same individual. One jawbone, one habit, held for a lifetime. That kind of consistency does not happen by chance. The wear tells another story, too. At several sites, the grooves sit beside signs of mild gum inflammation, evidence the individual was picking not out of vanity, but out of discomfort. An itch, a trapped fiber, a low ache at the gum line. the same sensation you feel today chasing you across 100,000 generations. By the time modern humans appear in the fossil record, roughly 300,000 years ago, the behavior is no longer occasional. Sites in the Middle East, including Skhul Cave in Israel, show toothpick grooves on a majority of adult molars examined, some individuals carrying wear on 4 or 5 separate teeth. Discomfort met with a tool, over and over, until it became instinct. Small relief, repeated until it became identity. Even the tools themselves survived. At Kropana in Croatia, a Neanderthal site dated to around 130,000 years ago, archaeologists recovered a scatter of small bone fragments and wooden fiber remnants, alongside jaw specimens showing matching groove patterns. Researchers studying the site have suggested some of these slivers were shaped and reused, not grabbed once and discarded. A person had a preferred tool, something in the hand, kept close, reached for again and again. Grass stems and hardened twigs would have decayed long ago, leaving almost nothing behind for archaeologists to find directly. It is the teeth, not the tools, that remember. Evidence hiding in the one thing hard enough to survive. Picture then an evening beside a fire somewhere in the Levant 40,000 years ago. The light is orange and low, throwing shadows against the cave wall behind you. You have just finished eating gazelle meat pulled from bone, roasted over coals that took the better part of an hour to build and tend. A fiber of meat sits wedged between your back teeth, and it bothers you the way it has bothered every mouth before yours. You do not think about it as ritual. You simply reach down, fingers finding a length of dried grass stem near the fire's edge, thin and firm, snapped to the right size without looking. You bring it to your mouth. 3, 4 passes, the same angle each time, the groove already forming in the enamel beneath the gum line, though you will never know that. Around you, others do the same. A quiet, wordless chorus of small motions, no one commenting, no one watching. It is simply what a mouth needs after food. There is no mirror to check your smile, no reason to care what anyone thinks of your teeth, except the ache that says something is caught, something is wrong, fix it. The fire cracks, someone laughs low across the circle. You toss the stem into the coals and lean back, tongue running once more over clean teeth, satisfied in a way that has nothing to do with vanity. This is not maintenance for appearance. This is the oldest form of listening to your own body and answering it without hesitation. For nearly 2 million years, this was the entire dental toolkit humanity needed. A stick, a stem, a moment of attention, nothing more. Then came agriculture, roughly 10,000 years ago, and with it, grain. Soft, starchy, endlessly available grain, ground into paste and cooked into mush, eaten meal after meal, year after year. The trap was not the food itself, it was what the food did while no one was looking. Skeletal studies comparing pre-agricultural and post-agricultural populations, including research out of sites in the Fertile Crescent, show a sharp rise in dental cavities once grain-based diets took hold, in some populations more than tripling within a few thousand years. The mouth that had spent 2 million years managing itself with a stick and a groove was suddenly overwhelmed by something it had no ancient defense against: sugar disguised as survival. Today, you reach for a plastic pick sealed in cellophane, manufactured in a factory you will never see, shipped across an ocean before it touches your mouth. They reached for a stem growing 3 feet from where they sat. Today, you were told which toothpick shape is correct, which brand is safest, which one a dentist recommends. They were told nothing. Their own discomfort was the only expert they consulted. Today, you clean your teeth to look acceptable to other people. Then, they cleaned their teeth because their own body asked them to, and that was reason enough. Today, a trapped piece of food is a minor annoyance you barely register. Then, it was handled the moment it was felt, with an object already in reach, by hands that never doubted what to do. The smallest human habits are often the oldest proof that no one needed permission to take care of themselves.